As a former member of the Alabama State School Board, former Chancellor of Post-Secondary Education for the state of Alabama, and as a member of the Education and Workforce Committee, I am proud to support this rule and the underlying legislation. For too long, our nation's education system has failed under a heavy top-down system of mandates and requirements set by Washington bureaucrats and special interest groups. The Every Student Succeeds Act changes that by getting Washington out of the way and empowering our local teachers, principals, and administrators. This legislation achieves these goals by reducing the federal government's role in K-12 education and restoring control over education back to the states and local school districts where it belongs. The Wall Street Journal editorial board calls this legislation the largest devolution of federal control to the states in a quarter century. National Journal notes that the bill marks a rollback of federal power, while Politico points out that the bill cuts down on the number of education programs. I hear concerns often from my constituents in Southwest Alabama about the Common Core standards. Well, this bill expressly prohibits the Secretary of Education from influencing or coercing states into adopting Common Core. This bill makes clear that it is solely a state's responsibility to set academic standards and pick assessments. These restrictions on the federal Secretary of Education are unprecedented and will end the Secretary's ability to influence education policy through executive fiat and conditional waivers. Some may wonder what the alternative is to this legislation, so let me tell you. Without this bill, we will continue to allow the Obama administration and the federal government to dictate education policy to the states. Without this bill, the Secretary of Education will continue to use federal grants and money to coerce states into adopting certain academic standards like Common Core. Without this bill, the Federal Department of Education will continue to operate more than 80 programs which are ineffective, duplicative, and unnecessary. Without this bill, teachers will continue to have their hands tied by policies and assessments put forward by bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. Washington has no business telling our states and local school districts how to best run their schools. So let's pass the Every Student Succeeds Act. Let's get Washington out of the way, and let's empower our local teachers, parents, and students. I urge my colleagues to support this rule and to support the Every Student Succeeds Act, and I yield back.